That is why this president should have vetted his own nominees.
How could he? How could he do a better job the first time around when the Democrats did not confirm his nominees for his cabinet?
Maria, Democrats don't do the vetting for appointees. The Republican administration, it's their responsibility.
What appointee did you want more vetting about?
Well, how about learning about the fact that you have nominees who were benefiting from legislation that they were offering? How about looking at the fact that you had a nominee to replace me at the Labor Department who, was all about making sure that you have lower wages and less benefits for folks. And finally, under pressure in the end from both people on the left and people on the right, he had to step down because they were ready, fire, aim. If I had half the stuff that these nominees had during my vetting, I never would have gotten through it.
You don't like them because they're business people. You don't like a cabinet that's all business people.
Penny Pritzker was one of my closest friends in the cabinet, very successful business person.
Was she a successful Commerce Secretary?
Absolutely. And you look at what we did as an administration. Again, let's remind your listeners about what the president inherited and what the president left. Again, 10% unemployment. Our economy was heading toward in 2009, 4.8% unemployment at the end of the administration.
I understand those numbers, but there's also 8 years in between there. I mean, you would think that we could see a recovery in fewer than 8 years.
Well, I think we need a history lesson here, Maria. George Herbert Walker Bush hands Bill Clinton a recession. Bill Clinton hands George W. Bush surpluses as long as the eye can see and 4% unemployment.
But Tom, everything you're saying comes into a wall because America voted for Donald Trump. So at the end of the day, you could talk about you handed me this and you handed me this and I inherited this, but at the end of the day, America voted for Donald Trump. They wanted change. The other issue is all of these agencies have become politicized. I mean, look at former Attorney General Loretta Lynch. She's back in hot water this morning. The government watchdog group Judicial Watch filing a lawsuit against the Department of Justice seeking all records regarding the meeting that then Attorney General Lynch had on her plane with former President Bill Clinton just a few days before Hillary Clinton was interviewed by the FBI. Do you think they're going to find something there?
Come on, Maria. This is the
obvious... It's all politicized.
Jeff Sessions went before the United States Senate, raised his hand, took an oath to tell the truth, and proceeded to not tell them about 2 meetings he had with the Russian ambassador, one of which took place at the Republican convention.
Why shouldn't he have a meeting with the Russian ambassador?
At the Republican convention.
But why shouldn't he have a meeting with... I mean, this whole Russian narrative fires me up because I don't understand where you're going with it. So in other words, senators and governors and, anybody of any power is not supposed to meet with Russian counterparts?
The narrative is pretty simple. Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin were in cahoots during the election.
It's just not true.
So all of those sources from the FBI are
what sources from the FBI?
Making it up.
It was very clear. Even Clapper, former CIA director, said there is no evidence of any collusion between Donald Trump and his administration and the Russian government.
Well, you know what? And the investigation.
Clapper said it.
That's why we need an independent investigation. Even Republicans are calling for this. Now, you know, Maria, because you've covered the news, Benghazi, we had 15 hearings. This is about interference.
Do you really want to go to Benghazi right now, Tom?
15 hearings, Maria. And this is about interference with a federal election for president. And we need an independent investigator, an independent counsel to do this.
To look at what kind of relationship the Trump administration has with Russia. We are, but they're already doing that. And even Clapper said at the CIA that there's no collusion.
Oh. Maria.
I'm just trying to be factual here in terms of what the facts are.
Maria, you are not about alternative facts. You look at what Charles Grassley and others, Devin Nunes, are saying about this president, saying he was wiretapped. I mean, even Republicans are calling the president on these alternative facts. Let me
ask you this, because you and I are all about economics. We've always had that in our discussions. Do you think President Obama could have done more? I mean, look at what President Trump is doing, picking up the phone, calling Carrier, bullying these companies. If you do a plant overseas and you don't create jobs here, it's going to be a problem. I mean, he's making the president look bad by being so fast on job creation.
Well, Maria, President Obama bailed out the auto industry. People like Donald Trump said, no, you shouldn't do that. 1.5 million jobs were saved as a result of what President Obama did. So let's make sure we are talking about the full context. And again, You know, Republicans said, let them die, let them go away, let the auto industry die on its own. President Obama said, no, I'm voting with the American worker. President Obama said, I'm sticking up for health care for everyone.